G'day fans, and welcome back to our very last episode of DNA Reviews as we rip apart frame by frame good old Starfleet Academy. Mr. Nick, who's been sitting there chomping at the bit all week to talk about this episode because we are here a day later than usual. Mr. Nick, how you going, old son?
Oh, doing really well, Dag. It's a bit sad that it's the last one for the season and for our season of the show, but as we know, it's the second season it's been filmed, so we'll surely be back.
What can I say? I'm trying to squeeze out a tear of sympathy, but it's just not coming. But nah, seriously, it is all good fun. There's a lot to get through on this particular episode. I had so many slides, I had to cut them right down, and we'll see what happens. So we'll just plow through it, and we'll go with the go. It's the episode Rubincon. Some people have written it as Rubincon, but no, it's actually Rubincon, which is actually kind of cool. And if you haven't seen the episode last week, there will be spoilers, which is very, very important, Mr. Nick. This one was actually one of their longest episodes, went for over an hour. It's like, holy guacamole, what is the deal with that?
Yeah, it was near old-timey movie length, which was, I'm sure you're used to, being of the Stone Age. But yeah, no, it was good. It was nice. I don't think it really felt like it was too long. And I don't feel like it felt like it was too short. So I do wonder what was cut out, because obviously most shows, at least one or two scenes are cut out of each episode. But yeah, what was in there was really good.
I was just trying to think, what's the girl who sleeps in the beds? The bears eats the bear's food. Goldilocks. Goldilocks. Yeah, it had the Goldilocks syndrome. It wasn't too long, wasn't too short. It was just right.
Yep.
So there you go.
Just right.
Very, very cool. Yes. Hang on. Will I say, have you betrayed us? Have you betrayed me and shooting that you're in the gut in the end? Yes. Well, we'll wait and see how that all pans out. It should be very, very cool. Anyway, we kicked the episode off. No mucking around. And we have the massive flashback from Mia regarding what happened in the first episode when he and Anisha got arrested, which was very, very groovy, very well done, very well put together, I've got to say. And you can understand why Anisha, when she wakes up, would actually be freaking out, because we saw this at the end of the previous episode as well. She's obviously been being chased by the Federation for a long time. She thinks she's a wanted fugitive, and she is a wanted fugitive. And, of course, she completely loses her load, not realizing there's a complete catastrophe occurring even as we speak, Mr. Nick. So how did you find that? Did that all play out well for you?
Yeah, it was really good. Led obviously straight in from last week, so I think it's one of those ones that's obviously a double bill. Yeah, straight into it, bit of a flashback. I don't know if they were the same scenes used in episode one.
It looked like it. Yeah, I don't think there's.
Yeah, they did, and yeah, it was good. It gave you a bit of a recap. Obviously, it's only been 10 episodes. You'd have to be, having a pretty bad memory like yourself, Dags, to need the recap. But no, it was good. It was about what you'd expect, really. Let's be honest. We knew that they were going to have a bit of a tiff. Yeah, so yeah, it was good.
Well done. I was like, well, I can't absorb it all. I've got to try and leave room for some Docky Who stuff that's coming, which is very, very exciting. We discussed it ages ago. Laura Thock, finally, about time she came back, right? She's been missing for episodes and episodes and episodes. She finally returned. Yay, team, because I think she's a great character. So I thought, okay, so she's back. Where are the War College people? Not even to be seen. Not even the commander who runs the War College. Nothing. Not a peep. And I thought, oh golly. And I agree with you, Rusky Babes. Previously on Starfleet 90210, and there's a bit more of that coming up later on too. So yes, clearly they thought, no, we can't squeeze everybody in. We're just going to have to cut a few people out. So the war, even though there's a war on, the War College had nothing to do. So it doesn't matter. It's all good. But yes, got to expect it, which is very cool. And just moving on from that, when they show, this is a few people have been asking about this, right? So why is the circle, this is all the Omega-47 minds, why is the circle a circle? Because strictly speaking, the entire thing should be covered in red because it's a three-dimensional thing. But of course, graphically, that would be pretty boring to look at. So it's like, okay, cut the guys a bit of slack. All right. Having said that, I mean, they would have to have detonated a hell of a lot of, got a lot of mines out there to cover a complete cube of the entire galaxy. I mean, that's pretty insane when you sit and think about it.
They do show later on a three-dimensional one, but it's sort of almost spiraling. And I'm thinking, there are so many millions of light years in between those two things. Couldn't all the ships just fly out? Anyway, they obviously weren't thinking about that, but they do show later on an encompassed sphere.
Yes.
But yeah, you just got to think in the three dimensions, Dax.
That's exactly right. That's what Khan didn't do in Star Trek 2. So I agree with you. Okay, so it is just a basic graphic of representation that goes all around. I mean, when people look at things like that, they go, "Well, okay, clearly they can't get out this way," and you go, "Well, what about that way?" Otherwise, if it was just all red, it would be boring to look at, and it wouldn't be very exciting at all. But don't worry, fans. Yes, they got the entire thing covered, which is just mind blowing in knowing how on earth you can do that. So, but it's all cool. The good guys are trapped on the inside. Our heroes are trapped on the outside. What could possibly go wrong? Well, I tell you what. First things first. It's mentioned here. So the good bit, the Discovery is referenced. Oh, can the Discovery save our asses? Nah, sorry, they're stuck on the inside. But what's the bad bit there? The bad bit there, Mister Nick. Of course, it's the freaking lens flare that appears out of nowhere. I mean,
Yeah, they just. I get that they're holograms and it's a sparkly ship, but my God. Oh,
well, if you
put a
watch
lens
this
filter on.
scene, if you watch this scene, I mean, aside from him moving his arm, nothing else moves, and then all of a sudden
Yep.
this thing just appears out of nowhere. And I was thinking, what is the deal with
That there was reflection from the miscut part of Thok's uniform that we know you love the
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, well, exactly right. Actually, wouldn't it be funny? You know how the doctor later on he appears and he can't speak properly. It'd be funny if he said, "Cut uniform properly. I will talk proper." Who knows? Yes, I used to like it too. Carl Sagan, millions. It used to be billions of stars, if I recall, billions of stars. There, light years, whatever else. So yes, it was very, very cool. Anyway, so our heroes are in a bit of a pickle. The good guys are stuck on the inside. Our troops are stuck on the outside. The ship is a bit busted. Handful of people on the ship. How on earth are they going to save this day? And to be fair, later on when we get to how they save the day, it works, but it's a bit on the weak side as well. But in the interim, I mean, it's what all good final episodes need: some groovy spaceship fighting action, and this was pretty groovy actually. So I mean, we see it later on when they supposedly blow up the ship. There's a lot of frigging bullets they've got to use to do it. You know, one photon torpedo in the old days would have done everything, but it did look very, very groovy. So we got to see some pretty funky visual effects, which I've got to say, can't complain about that. Now, this was really good. I thought, I mean, there were bits in the episode you go, that's great. Other bits you go, oh, that's kind of a bit weak. But this was a good bit. So Reno has to explain to everybody what they've got to do to remain hidden. They're going to raise the temperature, drop the oxygen, whatever, so they can't be seen by the sensors. And no one says anything. There's no gung-ho stuff. There's no heroics. There's no fist pumping. There's no stupid comments. Everyone is paying attention as she goes through the motions about what to do and what not to do. And I really liked this moment. I thought that was great because in a lot of TV shows, yeah, you get the old, oh no, we'll fight back and we'll kick some alien ass and all sorts of stuff. Nah, nothing like that at all. I thought that was excellent. So, yeah, good.
Yeah, no, it was great. Reno's really been one of the massive highlights of this whole show. Coming in as more of a cameo and then bam, she's now one of the main characters. Absolutely brilliant. The visual effects, going back to the previous slide, yeah, looked fantastic. I know a lot of people have given the show a bit of slack for, being all set in one place and whatever, but every time we've seen some sort of out in space thing, it has just looked like $1 million.
Yeah, no, totally agree. There's a good comment from Colin. I'm going to get to it in a sec. I just wanted to carry on from what I just said a moment ago. So they're all stuck in the room. They've had to raise the temperature, bloody, bloody, blah. What makes no sense is Sam is a hologram. So she wouldn't actually generate body heat or need life support, right? So strictly speaking, she doesn't actually need to be in the room at all. So even though she's given the impression she does need to be there. So I don't know if they've made a bit of a cock up on this one, thinking, hang on, she would not be detectable to the best of my knowledge. What do you think?
I think it was a convenient way to get rid of all the kids off the bridge.
Oh, yeah. And it worked. But yeah, when you sit and analyze it, I mean, once again, and we have discussed this before, when the show introduces certain rules, especially for their characters, and you go, okay, but then later on they break those rules, and you go, well, they could have said, hang on, Sam, why don't you go and stay with us on the bridge or just outside the bridge and then help save the day later on rather than be tucked away with the rest of the guys. I mean, she shouldn't be panicking at all, thinking, mate, you can do whatever you want. Turn off life support. I'm cooking on gas. So, but you are right. It is a convenient thing. I totally get it. Regarding the War College from earlier on, I like this one. War College. What was it good for? Absolutely nothing. Exactly right. So they didn't do a damn thing, those guys. So where was the angry Romulan woman? She needed to be here in this show. It's like kicking ass, giving the old the Vanari Ral a bit of a good whopping, but nah, didn't even get to see her. So anyway, not to worry. first world problems. Isn't that right, Mr. Nick?
Yep, absolutely.
Now, this was cool. All right. Now, that is going to leave a mark. That's an explosion and a half. Now, I don't know if you notice this, but for ages afterwards, there are fires burning on the bridge, right? And clearly, no one's got a fire extinguisher to put them out. They've just left them there. And they've obviously, like in the production, they've just got little gas things that are just burning in the background. But you actually see fires burning for ages, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Is someone going to put those, put them out? They're just going to let things, fires do get worse as time goes on. And of course, it consumes oxygen as well. But this was a fantastic visual effect when the bridge got blown up. It's like, dude, that is harsh. What do you reckon?
Oh, it looked awesome. The money was being thrown around in this episode.
Agreed.
Like, you can see where they were, making sure they didn't put the droids in because they were saving the money for the final episode. Like, they needed to get the bucks together. And it did not disappoint visually at all.
Well, later on, I'm going to take you to task on the fact that they did actually cheapen their budget on a couple of areas, and it's actually quite funny. Break out the marshmallows. Yeah, exactly right. Totally agree. But that was grouse. So, I mean, any other show, the ship would have been blown to pieces. But no, it's just enough to disable them. And then of course, Baraka does his grand entrance, actually appears in the chair. And you knew the episode was going to be great when he arrived. And I like how he says about Nanisha, she's like Lazarus, but shorter. Still got the jokes, still got the quips. And the fact he actually says, I made her funny, and no one laughs, I reckon it's actually really, really clever.
Yeah, I really do wonder if he is ad-libbing the actor, because he is such a great actor. And I really like the show, but there are some points in the dialogue where you roll your eyes, and I wonder, are the same writers who are writing that actually pulling off how good Baraka is, or is Paul Giamatti, bringing a little bit extra? I feel like he's probably bringing a little bit extra, but yeah, awesome to see him back, and ready for the big conclusion.
I can imagine in that line, the written line is just like Lazarus, full stop. And he's added the but shorter at the end of it. I tend to agree with you because it just seems so natural. And it really does work. And it's just one of those little throwaway gags, and you go, that's actually very, very clever because why would you be thinking that? I really liked it. And of course, the thing I found, now, I don't know what you thought, but because Reno's giving him a bit of back chat, effectively, you've destroyed the bridge. This is broken. That's broken. Bloody, bloody, bloody. I actually thought for a moment, and of course, I realised afterwards it is Starfleet 90210, that Baraka might actually kill her, pull out the gun and shoot her. Now, in another TV show or in another series, that's what would have happened. He would have said, well, I don't really need you. You're just a pain in the ass. I'm just going to plug in the head and be done with it, right? And then it tells Aki that, he's actually he's a bit serious about it all. But of course, you're not going to kill off a main character, which in one regards is good that they didn't, but in other regards, it's like if you wanted to boost the threat up like through the roof, shit, where did that come from? But at that moment, though, I actually did think, he's going to pull out the Malvern six-stroke shooter and just plug her on the head. But he didn't.
I see it a bit of a different way. I see the people that backchat to Baraka, he kind of respects it when they sort of have sarcastic comments. Obviously, he is quite sarcastic himself. So, look, if it wasn't another show, she probably would have been killed. But it was never going to happen. So
no, I agree with you. No, I agree with you. So the issue that you can have with certain shows, and this is a typical American thing, and it's just the way it is. That certain things are going to happen and certain things are not going to happen. I mean, one of the best examples I can remember, is like in Voyager, right? In the TV series Voyager, they're never going to get home early. It's not like, they just turn up and like, episode 3 of the second season. I've got this thing. We could just get in the wormhole. We're back home. Roll credits. Show's finished. Clearly, it's not going to happen. So there is an element of predictability about it. That's why when we have had in this season earlier on, when the Vulcan guy got killed and various other things, you go, that's actually, I didn't see that one coming, and that's actually kind of cool. So even though it would have been horrendous and the fan base would have gone completely apeshit if Reno had been killed, I personally would have thought, well, that's really rough. But hey, good on him for just taking that plunge. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It didn't happen, and it is all good. One thing I thought was really cool is we get to see the Doc's mobile emitter. He's had a stash in his upper jacket pocket for nearly 1,000 years ago. Very good, dude. So this is actually a very, very cool bit. And of course, if you're going to have a mobile emitter from 1,000 years ago, how lucky is it that it actually fits into the 32nd century version of a USB port? So wouldn't it be funny if it says error, incompatible device or something? So,
Yeah.
but that was actually kind of
Reformat
cool.
to FAT32. Yeah.
I love it. But this was actually a cool moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. It was a great callback to Voyager. I love that series, and I love the EMH mobile emitter. It's one of the coolest it's just a really cool little trinkety prop that makes the Doctor who the Doctor is, and to see him actually have that on him the whole time, that's actually part of his how he's walking around. That was really cool.
Yeah, so the idea that he can get into the ship and control the ship, I thought, that's different. That's sort of come out a bit out of nowhere, but it kind of works. I don't understand, and we'll cover it later on when he re-emerges why he's all a bit figgledy, whatever. But I did think about it afterwards. I thought, well, if he hadn't only could have just put it in his jacket the whole time, he could have done that on Voyage instead of having it sitting on the shoulder where it could be just knocked off. But
I like this comment here from Russell. The mobile emitter is almost as old as Dag's computer. You just need to get rid of the word computer, Russell. And then that sentence is gold.
Oh dear, you know what that means. I'm going to just run the show by myself from now on. Freaking smart asses, eh? Look at that. Bloody one day you'll be my age thinking, oh, where are all the old people going? I am. I'm one of them. Yes, exactly right. So it's very cool. And even Guy said the Doctor was one of his favorites in Voyager, mainly because he had a massive growth throughout. Like he started off as being like a cold character, and then actually evolved.
He is a very good reference for how to properly give a character growth and development in a TV show over the long term. The Doctor in Voyager,
Yep, no, totally agree. So, and he actually works in this series really, really well. As we mentioned, even though it was a very cool effect, we know the ship was never going to be destroyed because if they're not going to shoot Reno, they're definitely not going to blow the ship up. But it did look good. I mean, I was thinking about it afterwards. I go, okay, they've done a holographic projection of the ship being destroyed. But geez, it's a very realistic projection, and the actual ship itself is missing. And they go, you know what? Don't think too much about it. Just accept it for what it is. They think they've blown it up. The Venari rail fly away, and the ship just reappears out of nowhere. So theoretically, they could have done this for 1,000 Starship fights in any sort of series. When you sit and think about it, just stick a holographic dude into your computer, and all of a sudden you can have your ship look like it's still flying around without a problem. So, but it kind of worked, and yes, it looked good. Once again, more visual effects, and to see the ship actually being destroyed, even though it was fake.
Yeah, I absolutely loved this sequence. And then, it said Starfleet Academy on it. And I said before, back in the first show we did, wasn't a huge fan of the opening titles with the whole tree and they build the thing. I want it in space. Yeah, here. That coming onto the screen, I was like, oh, that is top notch. And seeing all the pieces of debris sort of become holographic, like shells, with the grid pattern, I was like, okay, this is what we've been waiting for. Like, this is really where it's getting really good.
Yeah, I thought about it afterwards, and I thought, well, they probably had to do it because the amount of this episode went for an hour and 7 minutes, so they probably thought we can't stick in a 2-minute opening title sequence, just stick the bloody logo in, and it freaking worked. I mean. If it's a shame we knew the ship hadn't been destroyed because the Doctor's on board and he's just taken over and done whatever. But it's sort of like a fake plot device. But it did look good. It just it goes backwards, move on with the story. And I agree with you. Sometimes you just got to stop mucking around, get straight into the guts of what's going on. And
it makes you think. Each part in the previous episodes, when they cut to the opening title, how much better would it have been if they had just incorporated the title screen into it somehow and then just moved in? Because the theme isn't anything special. It's not like the 90s days where you had DS9, Voyager, TNG, whose themes are just so iconic and brilliant. It's nothing special. The opening title bit, it's all about growth and tree and whatever. It just doesn't feel very Star Trek-y. That was really cool. I wish they had just done that each episode, just get straight into it.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Here's a good point from Michael. The Venari rail sensors must be crap if they couldn't see it was a hologram. There's a lot of logic in these stories that tend to go out the window when you go, why doesn't this happen? And there's one that's going to be bringing up a bit later on. It's funny, but it's not funny for that. And I think they go, you know what, just push past it, just get on with the story. If you're going to sit there and analyze all the details and the logic of it, you're looking at it the wrong way, and you go, okay, fair enough. Starfleet 90210, just get to the interpersonal battles, which we're going to discuss a little bit later on. When the Docky reappears, not the Docky, the Doctor, but what the hell, the Docky. I thought, and now admittedly he's broken, so he wouldn't have said this. But I thought when he reappeared, I thought, what a shame he didn't say, please state the nature of the medical emergency. I would have loved
that would have been perfect. Perfect.
But I couldn't work out why he's broken. It's like, what is the deal with that? And, it's just, it made no great sense as to why he's busted. He can't speak properly, but clearly he's thinking properly. So they bugger him off to medical, and the guys left. It's all the crew. And this is where Reno, you were discussing Reno earlier. He absolutely shines in this moment. This was a really, really good moment. Got all the cadets to think, methodical, no panic. And she says, all right, what's the point with this? What's the deal with that? What's the go with this? And makes them think about it. And I thought this was a really, really good sequence. And if anything, she could have her own show. She's that good.
100%. And I really hope that this wasn't we'll test her out for season 1 and then we'll do something else season 2. Because the problem with them already having done season 2 is that they don't get the fan reactions.
Yeah.
So the fan reactions are, we love having the Doctor back. We love having Reno. Tilly was really good. Bring her back. We love this, and this, and we don't love this, and this. But they've already done season 2.
Yeah.
They can't fix all of this until season 1. And we saw that's exactly what happened with the last 2 seasons of Doctor Who. And it crashed and burned. So hopefully the next season they're not going to go, let's experiment with other stuff. Hopefully they kind of stick to the formula they've got here because they're winning. They've got a pretty winning formula.
Yeah, it's a very good point, and it would be interesting if they said, the fan reaction has said, this is rubbish, yet we've filmed that. Do we have to spend money to go back and reshoot stuff to make changes? Some TV shows have been known to do that, and like they sit there and they go, oh my God, we really cocked up. But we were so ahead of ourselves thinking, how good are we, that, this part didn't really work. A lot of films do it with previews. So, it will be interesting to see whether they just say, nah, leave the bad bits in as well as the good bits, or the way they try and fix the bad bits. So, but there's definitely areas where the show works and works really well, but there are other areas you go, all right, maybe we need a bit of less of that. I like that one. Hologram, heal thyself. Yeah, that was actually a quote from Star Trek 2, funnily enough. Physician, heal thyself from McCoy. Splits, they did the old split screen effect, nice and fast. And there's also a time for a joke. I'm not a captain, even though Darren calls Genesis captain later on. But I thought that nice little. I thought this worked. It was fine. It was an interesting way of doing it. They obviously said, we can't cut to everybody saying it at the same time. I thought they might just have a big group shot. I thought, okay, it's cool. And of course, they all disappear except for Mia, I think, is still there. So
because he's the one who's the captain, and she says not a captain. So I thought this was great because it may look old and was cliched, back in the day, but this is not used anymore. No TV show uses this sort of split screen comedy anymore. It was used a lot in the 60s, 70s, 80s, never nowadays. So to see it pop up, it's actually a new, refresh sort of thing. I hope they do some more gags like that in the future. It was a really easy way to do a visual gag. I really liked it. When they all popped up on the screen, I was like, oh my God, okay, we're doing this. And I thought it worked really well.
Yeah, what I did like is, considering it's a very serious situation, the jokes are kept to a minimum in the silliness. And as I said, some shows could really be known to push it. You go, hang on, you're at a life's death situation here. You can't just be cracking gags like you've got nothing to worry about. So they kept it to a minimum, and it worked really well. So as predicted from last week, the Binary Rail do actually have Starfleet technology with the secondary hull of the USS Athena. So that's not very, very flash. But I do wonder, did the set designers have a lot of fun busting this whole thing up? And funnily enough, Aaron's not joining us tonight, but he's always made a point of saying he hates the idea of angle grinder sparks just coming from nowhere, which we saw lots of on the bridge. And of course, we see them in this set as well. So you've got all these fires burning everywhere, which clearly no one's in a hurry to put out. And you've got the angle grinder sparks up here, which are coming from nowhere. So, mate, they must have had fun just ripping this apart. What do you think?
Yeah, I reckon they had a ball. It almost, makes me wonder, did they put money in for a new ship? Or at least it did at that point. Obviously, at the end, we see it's all redone, but maybe they'll refit it for the next season, and this was all filmed later, and they just busted it all up, and it was just the set designers going, yeah, let's have an absolute ball. Let's just make shit happen. But yeah, I thought it looked really good. I loved the little like Vena Vidi Vici in the back as well, was really funny, and yeah, it was very good.
We mentioned this earlier, Michael. Yeah, the fire burning on the spaceships is only a certain amount of oxygen. No one puts them out; they just let them burn. And you think, can imagine the director or the showrunner saying, "Needs more angle grinder sparks, just sparks." They just come from nowhere, right? And it happens on movies and TV shows all the time. It's an absolute bugbear of Aaron's. I completely get it, because it's like, well, why are they freaking angle grinder sparks? But anyway, what the hell?
I never noticed it, and ever since he mentioned it, now I can't not see it in everything I watch. And I'm like, oh, if only I could have just kept living in ignorant bliss, like now I watch it and I go, there they are again. Yeah.
I mean, the problem is you'll see a spaceship that's busted up and you go, well, they're obviously not too bad because there are no angle grinder sparks anyway. So
yeah, it's fine.
Unbelievable. Yeah, very, very funny. Now, the drone footage in this episode, when they went completely apeshit, because you got this thing flying around, which is the camera thing, right? And they obviously said, mate, we're going to pay you big bucks. We just want you to fly everywhere. Now, I don't know if I don't expect you to read this, but I did all the overlays, right? And it was sort of interesting because I was reading all the stuff at the bottom, and it does all change as we go along. And some of it's actually kind of cool. He's pure evil, claims former Vance aide in shock expose. So, yeah, some of it I thought was interesting. Some was a little bit wanky. I reckon they had to sit there and think, what is the ticker tape at the bottom going to be? And the fact that it says here, terrorist or freedom fighter, learn the true newsbracker, it says, newsbracker story, more at 2100. I mean, oh, really? We work on normal, like, Earth time all of a sudden.
Yeah, it was very, like, obviously it was VNN instead of CNN, because it was the Nari Ral News Network. And
very good, yes.
It didn't really... I loved the drone shots. They looked awesome. But the idea that it was news broadcast, especially when the ship, like the Athena, I was about to say the Enterprise, the Athena logging into it, and they're not just picking up like the news signal. They're not, this obviously out on all subspace frequencies outside of the massive bomb zone. How are they not just watching live? Like that didn't make any sense, but it was an easy way to have whoever there was probably a camera operator who was like, guys, let me use the drone. Like, please, Paramount gave us the money for the drone. Let me use it. And they're like, fine, go nuts. And they've just got him like zipping around. It looked really cool, but the idea of, VNN and this like Earth style news channel and the jokey ticker tape at the bottom, I was like, oh, okay. All right. We get it. It's a joke, but it didn't land as well as I think it could have.
Yeah, it's pay-per-view. I like the idea. Maybe what happened, they said, we've got a drone opera because it's such a big set. And they just said, just fly wherever you want to fly. And he's flying around having a whale of a time. And afterwards they go, it'd be really cool if this was the point of view of the TV camera for the broadcast. Oh, hang on, we've got to put in all these overlays. Oh, hang on, now we actually have to physically put the robot in, flying around, because no one's going to know where it's coming from. So this drone dude who's just been flying around having a whale of a time has suddenly pushed the budget of the show.
I was really happy to see the CGI drone flying around in scenes that it wasn't, because a lot of shows would have just forgotten that. They would have just been like, if it's not, because it's just the camera. But then obviously they took the time and they actually had the news thing flying around, and that I was very impressed by that.
Yeah, very cool. You probably find where you look at some of the drone footage, you go, hang on, if that camera was there in real life, you'd be sitting there going, mate, it's like a fly flying around like a mosquito. Just give me the shit. Just take wide shots, dude. Don't sit there and do close-ups right up my head.
Also, it's a drone. It can hover in front of them and film them do it. But instead it's like, they're saying this, and then they're saying this. It's like far out motion sickness. My God.
That's a very good point, actually. Collins asked, I wonder how much the VNN subscription fee is. There's a joke here from Russell. You won't get this, dude. This is going back about Captain Commander thing, right? See if you get this one, right? Okay. I'm not a captain. Would you believe? Commander? I don't think so. Lieutenant? No. How about Cub Scout second class? Do you have any idea what that would be? No, that's a Maxwell Smart gag if ever there was one. I just read it and I go, oh, very, very clever.
Okay.
Would you believe? Yes. There used to actually be a
Yeah.
website called wouldyoubelieve.com. It actually went through all those Get Smart gags. But anyway, we move on. Now, this is the key thing about the whole episode, right? It's the trial of the Federation, okay, on this thing. And to be fair, it was very well performed, very well done, some good arguments from all sides, bloody, blah, looked great cinematically and all this sort of shit. The problem I found straight away, it's been done before, right? When it was humanity, the Q continuum and the trial of humanity, right? Where all of a sudden there's two sides of the coin, Q saying this, Picard's got to say that, bloody, blah. And I couldn't help it, but I felt like we've done all this already, right? Big ass trials. Why would Bracker have a trial? Mate, just blow the frigging thing up and destroy the Federation. What was all the crap about? So I found it was a massive amount of procrastination, a hell of a lot of dialogue, and an awful lot of screen time. And I couldn't work out what the justification was. Clearly, he hates the Federation. He says so. His planet got bombed and bullshit. Press the button, dude. Blow it up. Done. Reclaim the galaxy. So if there was a weak point of this episode, even though there was so much time spent on it, I felt this was it. And at least in the Next Generation thing, the resolution of the trial of humanity was covered off in the last episode from All Good Things. So, All Good Things. So that was I felt was a weak part, and unfortunately, there's more to come regarding that. But what do you reckon, dude?
I liked it. It was fine. You got to remember, this show is being aimed at people who probably have not watched Star Trek Next Generation.
True.
They're not going to make that link. I made that link, but a winning formula for one, but also it's done in everything. There's all trials happen in a lot of different things because trials happen in real life. And I guess, he's doing it because he's trying to, make himself a sympathetic looking character for the wider universe, because he's basically setting himself up to be the ruler, really. And he needs a reason and a justification for destroying the Federation space. He could have just blown it up, but I think he wanted the spectacle. He's an egotist. He wanted that,
But if you're going to do that, okay, so fine, you put the Federation on trial. This is where it fell apart. Now you got to look at this from two perspectives. Okay, all right. So the problem with the whole trial thing, okay, and this is the bit that made me switch off the episode, and this is I class as one of the weak elements to it, right? There are two perspectives when it comes to watching this entire sequence. We as the audience and everybody else in universe in the show. It all got really personal. It's all about Aki talking to Mia. It's talking about Anisha's history with the son, being locked up, blah, blah, blah. The people in the audience in that room wouldn't give a rat's ass about any of that. They'd all be saying, what about the Federation as a whole, as a collective? Why do we hate them? Why should they be found guilty? And that is the problem that I found. In fact, later on, you see some shots of extras, and I'll show them to you too. They look like they don't even care what's going on. So, but I get it. As we as the audience are dialing into it, oh, yes, what happened to Anisha? What happened to me? What did Aki do to him, take him away from the mother and all that sort of stuff? But it works for the personal level of the series, but it doesn't work for the situation they're in. Now, if you go back to the trial of humanity from the Q continuum, right? Picard wasn't talking about him. He was talking about humanity as a whole, right? So at least they thought of that from a writer's perspective, whereas this was all personal. And that wouldn't have worked because no one else, all those people in the background back here, they wouldn't give a rat's bum about who Anisha was, who Mia was, why they got arrested. They'd care about why Bracker's planet got blown up because he's now their leader. But that was the thing I found took me out of the show. I go, mate, who cares, right? This shouldn't be about them. It should be about why the Federation should survive. And they didn't cover that off at all.
I guess you've got to go back to the way they treat the Academy. It's basically those 6 kids' school.
Yeah,
and no one else's. It obviously, I get where you're coming from, but at the end of the day, dude, it's a TV show. Calm down.
I'm calm. I've got to put a point of view forward, right? But the thing is, and this is important, right? If people hang shit on the show and they say this is weak because of this, right? And there are other aspects of the show that are being criticized, they're fair comments. They are valid points. Now, if I think that way, I'm sure other people might think that way as well. And later on, I'm going to bring up some good examples of that. Because in the end, you go, okay, it is a show for a young audience. It is a show for people who don't want to overthink things. But by the same token, it's got to work for the narrative, right? For the entire thing. And I found this was one area where it got so personal. It was right down in the nitty gritty of these characters. I thought, who cares, right? Especially where's the audience? We know what the story was. So it was well performed. It was good writing. But yeah, once again, it was like, okay, this is just going way off topic. So anyway, I just wanted to get that out there before we move on. Russell, just going winding back a little bit. You are right, Thomas. It was Get Smart. We'll talk about earlier. Maybe we should do a Maxwell Smart podcast to replace this one. But you never know. And regarding the Q thing, yeah, it wouldn't be funny if Q suddenly appeared in the trial. That would have been kind of groovy. So there you go. All right, very good. We're back on the ship, right? Once again, everybody's been told what to do. Naturally, first things first, Darren does not do what he's supposed to do, right? He goes faster when he's not supposed to go faster, and the ship's about to fall apart. It's like, dude, you need to be sacked. You're an absolute knob. So, once again, it's like, dude, just follow friggin' orders. Don't try and be a hero. So that was a little bit frustrating. And then, of course, they've got to try and fix it and put the shields back and get the stabilizers working and all that other stuff. But it's creating drama when they didn't need to create drama. There's enough of that as it is. Anyway, anything you want to say about that?
Not really. It played into his character. He's the cocky. I think Reno says later on he'll make a good pilot, but not now.
Yes.
And that's what he is. He's the cocky pilot. He's got, very much that Kirk from the Abrams movies vibe about him, where he just, thinks he's, the bee's knees. But yeah.
Like it, Darren, don't be a hero. Don't be a fool with your life. Well, he is it because he's like, I'll just go a little bit faster and then just cocks it off. It's just straight away.
I thought that was hilarious. He's like, I'll put it up a fraction of a notch, and then the whole ship just busts. And I was like, that's pretty good. That's well done.
Yeah, there's a lesson to be learned from that. And yeah, clearly Reno said, he's not going to go. He's not going places as simple as that. Question for you, dude. Okay, you've been put in charge of the ship. So what would you say in this moment compared to what she said?
What did she say?
I think I have to pee.
Oh, yeah, that was a fair comment. I thought that was really funny. I thought we were going to get a new line. Obviously, a lot of people have been really happy with what Reno says. Show me the sparkly thing or whatever. That was really funny when she did that a while ago. You have Pike's one, you have Kirk's one, whatever. But, I don't know what I'd say, really, in that situation. But I thought what she said was hilarious.
Yeah, it was different, wasn't it? I mean, once again, you'd be sitting there thinking, is that what you're thinking of at the time? You got to go. That's the first thing that comes out of your head. Oh, I think I got to go to the bathroom. It was a cute gag. Yeah. Okay.
Well, nervous pee, but yeah, I thought it was funny. I thought it worked.
Yeah,
because they are kids, even though they all look like they're in their mid-20s. Yeah, they're kids. Yeah.
Nah, fair enough. It was definitely something different. And maybe they said, oh, hang on, instead of doing the old engage, fire at will, bloody blah, you are right. Just put this line in. Oh, she's got to go to the bathroom. Or she thinks she's got to go to the bathroom. It's certainly something a bit different. It was very dramatic, the big zoom in on and all. It's like, all good. But I thought it was an interesting moment. I like this one. All right, once again, sorry, the laws of logic have got to come into play on this one. It won't be the last time either. Aki says we weren't studying Omega-47 to make a weapon. She didn't even know about Omega-47 until after it was stolen. So... instead, it was meant to be planned as a new power source. And I go, really? It's been developed? It's been developed on us. No, she didn't know until Vance told her last week.
Yeah, no, but I mean, that there, I think, is a joke to the real world. Because every time some government does something, they always say, oh, it was going to be a new power source. Well, that's always what it is, nuclear energy. Oh, it wasn't going to be a bomb. We were just going to, make free energy. I think it was a gag towards that.
Really? Because I looked at it and thought, okay, if you're on trial for your entire species, the entire Federation, cracking jokes probably isn't going to work.
I don't think it was a joke. I think it was just political, filibustering,
Yeah, I get that. Remember, she's on camera. She's been broadcast. Everyone would say, hang on, how do you know it was meant to be a power? So she would have a freaking idea. So maybe you're right. Right? I don't think you are. I think the writers have said, no. It wasn't being developed as a weapon, even though it was on this super secretive station that nobody knew about. It was actually meant to be a power source.
That was building rubbish. Everything else was weapons, except the Omega-47. That wasn't a weapon. Yeah. Everything else
it wasn't. Oh, it's an alternative power source. One drop can power an entire planet.
Yeah.
And I thought, hey, first things first, how on earth did she know that? Because she hadn't even heard of this until last week. And if that was the case, why would they put it on this super secret station that nobody even knew about? So I thought, oh, you're leaving yourself open there for absolute someone going, that is complete rubbish. You're talking political allegory, man.
That's what it was. That's what it felt like to me. It felt like she was just making up something on behalf of the Federation because she's on trial for them.
Actually, it would have been interesting if she had said, yeah, you're right, we were developing a weapon. I personally didn't know about it, right? And half my people didn't know about it. You're right. We've got shifty people working for the Federation. That would have been different. But no, they didn't mention it. So, yes, the number 47 is used a lot in Star Trek, and there was a reason for it, and I cannot remember what it was. It just seemed to pop up everywhere. It was an in-joke for the crew or the production team, but I didn't pick it up on this. But I thought it was interesting.
Someone get on the Google. Tell us what it is.
Yeah, someone jump on the Google. What's the relevance of 47 in Star Trek?
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah. So when she said that, I go, hang on, you're just telling Porky Pies here. Anyway, so. And it comes up again later on as well, which I thought was actually kind of interesting. Once again, now we get on the ship, right? Massive crisis. Got to get the warp drive working. Bloody, blah. Reno and Mia go down to the thing, and what happens? Mia has a sook, right? Oh, I'm not very good. I'm complete crap. I'm this and that. And I go, the best lines in the entire show. Cue the violins, right? Absolutely. And the problem I found with this, and I'm not saying it was a bad episode. I'm not saying it was a bad series, right? But most of this series, the Starfleet 90210 thing, is all about the individual. The needs of the one, right? Well, the needs is outweighing the needs of the many. All these people think about is themselves. And it was kind of pissing me off because, like, when Mia's going, where's my mother? It's like, dude, the entire Federation is going to get blown up and all you give a shit about is your damn mother. It's like, look at the bigger picture. So
you haven't seen her in 18 years. It's not that deep, man. Like,
exactly right. Considering Reno said cue the violins, I thought, thank you for absolutely sinking the boots in and say, dude, get off your ass, get your head in the game, fix this shit, and then we'll sort it out later on. So, but I can understand a lot of younger people might be going, oh my God, I need to get the Kleenex out because it's such a sad moment. It's like, for crying out loud, guys, just sort it out. So I did like the fact that Reno didn't cave into that. She did say, yes, you're great, you're wonderful, you're going to become the greatest dude in the entire universe, but let's get back into the thing. So I thought this whole episode is all about the interpersonal battles between these people, and I'm going to highlight that a bit more later on. So I don't know if you had any thoughts about that.
No, I think Reno was great. Like everything that she's been, and I wonder if the actress has been adding in her own stuff as well, or whether it is the writers doing it. But Reno's just been all round probably the best character of the whole series.
You know what?
I think it's safe to say Reno's probably the best one. Yeah.
Yep, just I totally agree with you on that one. Yeah. And ironically, she came from Discovery. So just carrying over what I just said, right? You can just imagine the showrunner says, well, it's the final episode. We've got to get through all the interpersonal drama, right? So we just had Mia having the sook with Reno. Then Anisha has a bit of a thing with Aki. And now it's Sam with Genesis. And it's like, oh, you freaking load up the emotional baggage. It's like, oh, gee, now I don't know. That's probably why the damn episode ran so long. They may have said, we can't put the opening credits in because we're going to go through all this shit, all this rubbish. It's like, oh, this person's having a sook with this person. This one needs to cry on the shoulder. This one misses this one. It's like, freaking hell. And, of course, Trima does it with me later on. It's like, oh, my God. Dude, maybe for you it worked, but I thought, oh, God, there's a crisis. Fix the freaking crisis.
For me, and I'll touch more on this later when we get right to the end, but the whole thing felt like the writers and the directors and everything had been told, this is a one and done. You're doing one season of Starfleet Academy and it's never coming back, and they're wrapping everything up. And obviously when we get to the end, I'll discuss how they did all that. But for me, I was watching it and I was thinking, this is ending. Whereas it would have made sense if they hadn't have been picked up, but they'd been picked up, greenlit, and were getting ready to shoot season 2 as they were filming season 1. So my question is, why were they wrapping up the show?
Yeah.
Because
I think you're right.
Spoilers, get to the end, it wraps up.
It does.
You could take this and say Starfleet Academy, the complete miniseries, and you wouldn't even question it. You'd get to the end of it and go, yep, that's it. That's done. So yeah, it felt like they were like, we need to tick this box, we need to tick this box, we need to make sure this person talks to this person, everything get resolved. Because it does. And you'll see later, obviously, with Mia and the Betazoid girl, who I keep forgetting her name. Tarima. They wrap that up as well. They wrap up
Yep.
every single thing. They wrap up Thokin
Yep.
and Reno hold
Yep.
hands at the end.
They
They
do.
wrap up every single story. So yeah, when they started doing the stuff with Sam and Genesis, I was like, oh well, I guess it's time for those two to have their thing, and then we'll see what the next one is. Yeah.
Yes, I'll get to the end at the end, but you are completely correct. Okay, so yeah, I thought that. Yes, we'll put that on ice for the time being.
Stick a pin in it.
No worries. So the doctor can't speak properly, right? Okay,
Yep.
so I thought, why don't you just write down what he wanted to say? And I go, oh yeah, there's no pen or paper. He clearly his mind's there. He's just voices up the shit. So just give him a pen and paper and just, dude, what are you trying to say, dude? So yeah, I thought that was a little bit. It's. I kind of just didn't get the point of it, but it is what it is. So whatever. Now here we go. So Sam says that Starfleet used Rubin particles to stabilize Omega-47, then added gluons, right? Now, how on earth would she know this, right? So in any event, you've got to clue the old Trekno babble alert, because that's what it is. How would she know this stuff, dude? She didn't know about Omega-47 until last episode either.
Yeah, but at the beginning, and we're going to go into this is me just picking up on stuff. At the beginning, the Admiral says we've transferred all files, even the classified ones, about Omega-47 to the ship. I would assume, well, we know that Sam has access to everything in the ship. So she would have just downloaded it immediately, knew everything about Omega-47.
Well, I can understand the doctor getting it, because clearly he comes out and does the glue on the shoe and all this sort of stuff. So I get that. So whether she had access and authorization to do that, maybe she did. Okay. But it just seemed funny that all of a sudden it's like, it just came across as like, oh, we just need to get this resolved. They just need to figure it out, right? So instead of the doctor just saying, this is what you need to do, which would have been the easy way of going out about it, instead of this whole bloody glue on the shoe rubbish. But yeah, it gives her a chance to say, oh no, you got these particles, got to do this, got to do this, do this. So it's a bit of a long-winded way of getting to where you wanted to go. And if that's the case, and she did get access to the files and understood it all, but then she would have said, this isn't a power source. This is the blow shit. This is the blow shit up.
I think it was a very convenient way to get Sam and Genesis into a volatile situation where they could have the conversation. I think that's what it was designed to do.
Yeah, and I tend to agree with you, right? So it was just cut through the just get to the end. And this is where a few people, and I did read this today, and was thinking, hang on. So as you said, the season needed a happy finale, right? And the problem was last week they introduced this Omega-47, and then the following week it's fixed, right? It didn't even last 2-3 episodes. It was just all over in Red Rover. And if you remember, for anyone who watched DS9, when Miles O'Brien created the self-replicating mines, it took them episodes to try and fix that problem. This is for the Dominion. Every time they flew through the wormhole, they'd blow up, right? It took them ages and ages and ages to resolve that. Whereas this, the whole universe, the whole galaxy is covered by Omega-47 mines, and by the following week it's gone. And I go, well, at the very least, what would have worked is if Omega-47 mines had have been employed or deployed at the start of the season, or they're still here by the end of this season to carry into the next season. So as a threat that could destroy, it's like the burn ×2. It's all resolved in a single week. And it's like there's no threat. And I'm not the only one who thought that. Other people wrote that, said the biggest weapon in the entire universe, suddenly it's weak by the following week. So that I think is an interesting observation. And I go, yeah, because as you said, maybe they thought they only had one season, they got to get it resolved. They should have deployed this thing 2 or 3 episodes ago and made a real contest out of it. Get the cadets out there, sort it out. There's strife, there's trouble, there's dramas, there's problems, and instead it's all over. Probably in their time frame, the space of only a couple of days, if a couple of hours. So yeah, I thought that was pretty weak. So I don't know if you got any further thoughts on that.
No, I was expecting at least one mine or something to blow up and then go, oh my God, we've lost X trade thing or whatever. But yeah, it was resolved. It was a very convenient plot point, a very scary plot point that was scarily easy to fix.
Because I thought at the end of the last episode, when they go, oh my God, Omega-47 is encompassing the entire Federation, by the end of this episode, it's still there, right? Something bad has happened. But it just wasn't the case. I like this one from called what the hell's the glue on? Is there some sort of residual effect of a self-sealing stem bolt? That's also another DS9 reference, which I thought was kind of cool. Okay, Terima and Mia, right? They had their moment. I like this. I did actually like this sequence, but of course, if you're gonna you're gonna need to find a Bracker in a hurry because he's got the button to switch everything off. You just got to tap into Terima's force sensitivity to find Anisha via Mia and Bracker. How easy is that? It's like, who do we know who can connect to someone? You connect to me, he'll connect to this person, which connects to that person.
What I didn't get was when they put the new thing on her, they said, and she's got a new device so she doesn't hurt herself. And I was thinking, they've, attached it to her spine or something. It's just a suction cup. My God, she can just take it off whenever she wants.
Where's the blood?
This is insane.
Yeah, why did she just rip it out with the blood and stuff? It was just like...
Oh, God. I thought they'd injected it somehow to make it so she can't pull it out anymore. And the idea is she never pulls it out. And instead she just pops it off. And I'm thinking, oh, my God, it's clearly not that big of a deal if they're just like, oh, yeah, she can take it off whenever she wants. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I thought that was funny too.
Yeah, crazy. Crazy.
Of course, I thought, she's going to rip shit out and there's going to be blood pissing out everywhere. Just press it out. It's like, that was kind of weak. Once again, they said, we don't care. We just got to get the damn thing off. Yeah. So, I thought that was pretty weak as well. Two things just quickly. I couldn't help myself being a Star Wars fan. They talk about the dead pilot, right? Okay, this big long thing about who the pilot was who got killed. Bullshit, right? Turns out he had a long braid. So he was obviously a Padawan. I couldn't help myself. I couldn't help but have a laugh at that. It's like, who gives a crap about this dude who carked it? But anyway, he is what it is. He came from Hawaii and he had a long braid. And so they're all Padawan learners. And this is the bit that I thought was interesting, right? When Aki says there's so much anger in the universe, so much atrocity. And as you mentioned earlier, this is clearly referencing the real world. And this was before the war in Iran.
I think this was probably referencing...
That's exactly what it was. Yeah.
If we're going off of when this was filmed, it's probably referencing the Ukraine.
Oh, undoubtedly,
deal. And maybe Palestine. I don't know when this was filmed. I know the Palestine conflict has been going on for a while, so it's probably that as well. But yeah, obviously, really hits close at the moment. Like the week after or of, the main conflict's beginning. And this comes out and it's like, wow, okay, that's...
So can you imagine the showrunners are saying, we were referencing Ukraine and Palestine, all that. It's like, crikeys, there's a war in Iran. How fantastic is that? Our show's going to be more relevant than ever. Yes!
Terrible.
But yes, it's... Star Trek has been known to do that, referencing real-world events. But when she says that line, you go, you know exactly what the writers were thinking about pain and anger and atrocity. That's exactly what they're talking about. And good on them too for that, because there is a lot of it where you sit there and you're scratching your head going, why is this actually like this? So I like this one from Colin. They fixed the Amiga issue by calling Charlton Heston. Yes, that's very good because he was in the Amiga Man in the 70s. Absolutely love it. Very, very cool. But yes, it is a very, very good point. Very relevant. Oh, come on, dude. Give it the program. So now, I've got to admit, classic. It was actually a movie about a virus that infects the whole planet in the 70s. Last Man on Earth. Get with the program. Oh, God. What kind of nerd are you? So, so this one I laughed, right? This is what you call good details. They're talking about the strontium thing, right? And Bracker says, they fired red laser bolts and blew up the entire planet, blah, blah, blah. And, of course, then Mia says, no. In the last few hundred years, Federation laser bolts have been blue or green. And I thought, thank goodness I put that caveat in. Because the Next Generation, mate, it was red all the way. It was red all the way. So I looked this up and I go, oh, hang on. Obviously, they didn't write it in. Then somebody said, hang on, we better check this. Holy moly, you can't say that they've never fired red laser beams because they always do. I was originally going to Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan, but this is Next Generation is later. And they said in the last few hundred years, it's been blue or green. And I think even Discovery might be blue or green. So it was very lucky they put that in. But I am willing to bet they didn't have there originally, and someone went through and fact-checked and said, shit, and quickly, hastily put that in and got me to say the last few hundred years. So did you pick up on that?
No, I liked the reveal that it was obviously the dad that messed up. I almost think it would have been cooler if it had been Starfleet did actually open fire. and it was that, it was a tough time in the thing, and they opened fire and they killed some people, and it's a regret. I feel like that would have been a very interesting thing to do. Obviously, no, Starfleet's all good and all becoming and the greatest thing in the universe, so they didn't. And the idea that, you had this thing that they were mining and that blew up, and that's what choked everyone to death and whatever. That was really cool. But I do wonder what it would have been like if they had just gone, yeah, we looked at the files, and whoever was in charge of that shit just, snapped and killed some people.
I would have thought it would have been just fantastic. If you're right and someone's doing the fact checking, and they go, oh, crikey, Section 31 blew up the planet, because they're the shifty part of it's like the CIA, of the Federation. They go, shit, Section 31 blew up as you said, intentionally. But of course, that sends the story in a completely different direction.
But I think that would have been cool then, moving into a second season. Why were they targeting refugees and whatever? But obviously, no, Starfleet's good and whatever, and it was a mistake that happened and whatnot. Yeah, we get it. And the whole thing of Bracker's holding on to the past just as Mia's holding on to the past, and Aki's holding on to the past with her son, and it's this whole juxtaposition of everyone's holding on to the past and you've got to let go and whatever. It all worked, but it would have been cool if it had been, no, Starfleet opened up and they killed some people.
Yep. So regarding Bracker's point of view, Aki says Bracker's worldview is based on a lie. And I thought, that's a bit rough.
No.
He was only a little kid. It's just not. It's based on a misunderstanding. As a kid, he didn't know any different. So I thought, God, that was a bit harsh. He's like, he's not based on a lie at all. So, that was a bit of a bad writing in that regard. So, but I don't know if you picked up on that, but I certainly did. I go, no, he didn't do anything wrong. So
I think at that point, she was just trying to discredit him. So.
Yeah, no, it's cool. All right, now this is interesting. So now we finish at 9 o'clock for the hour, but I've still got a few more slides to go. We're not at the end of the episode yet, so we're going to just run over a bit over time, fans. Last episode, got to get
the last one. Look, this episode ran over time, so why can't we?
I like it. Yeah, if you stop talking, I'll make sure it finishes on time.
Hey, Dad, shut up.
Yeah, shut up. All right, here we go. So Russell said it's a long thing. Actually, something which bugs me about a lot of modern science fiction of any type is that the writers seem more concerned about the 90210 soap opera than using science fiction as a vehicle for ideas and allegorical concepts, which is what the 60s Trek often did, and the literature writers of the period as well. The important thing to remember regarding this series, and I did some research on this, it is intentionally created for a younger audience. That is their absolute demographic, not the old fans of 50 years ago. Young people, funnily enough, you're the target audience. And they made it very, very soap opera-ish for that purpose, right? Now, whether it's future-proofing for the fan base of the next 10, 20 years, I don't know. But that was their primary target. And that's why there's a lot of modern real-world concepts. But the only thing we haven't really seen in this series is the equivalent of social media. But the way everybody interacts with everybody else and the young people is intentionally done that way. And that would be at the sacrifice of what, as you said, about using like serious hardcore science fiction ideas. And of course, they've only got 10 episodes to do it in. So yeah, that's the trade-off. So I guess it works on this, on the assumption if you like classic stuff, you like hardcore stuff, you go back to the older series. If you like new material, go with this. Directed at the younger audience, perhaps that's why they call it. Yeah, exactly right. Which is, obviously referencing what's happening today. The problem is whether 20 years from now it dates the series. People will say, younger people 20 years from now might look at this series and go, mate, it's so 2026. It just doesn't work. Who knows? Whereas classic Trek is still relevant decades after it was made. So who knows?
For you, but you do look back on the original series, and the way that a lot of the characters act is very of its time and very dated. True. So I think the stories will be timeless. Obviously, original series, the stories are phenomenal, but the way that the actors are portraying the characters, et cetera, is of its time, just as the series is of its time, just as the 90s series are of its time. And I think it will be interesting, though, as you said, in the future, what people think of it, because I think we're a lot more accepting of stuff pre-2000 as a media, whereas if you watch something from 2010 nowadays, you go, oh, that's too dated. If you watch something from the 90s, it's, oh, that's cool because it's of the 90s. So
yep.
Where are we going to go with it?
Fair argument. Now you mentioned earlier on, they chucked all the budget at this entire thing, right? all the money went on this episode. Clearly not a lot, because if you look at these dudes, right? So I couldn't help but laugh. I thought, it's like, clearly they're all human, practically, right? They're all bored out of their brains. Clearly they just said, just stare at this spot on the wall. And I thought, well, look at this, got pretty colors. There's that, like, what is the deal with that? This is extras who clearly don't want to be there. Maybe it was a late night on a Friday or something like that. And
they were told to stand there because they were supposed to be edited out to be the droids, but obviously they ran out of the budget, so they had to.
There is, when you look at this sequence, because they talk down in the trial, oh my God, what does everybody think? And they show these people, and it's like they haven't even been given directions. It's like, look angry, look upset, look like you're fighting for a brack and you hate the.
They couldn't care less.
Nothing.
No, they could not care less. Yeah,
bone dry. Oh, I laughed my head off when I saw that, and it's like, hang on, where are all the aliens? Like there's none anywhere. So you do see them in other shots, but I thought that was actually a very, very funny one. But as I said, they got the Wiggles thing going on with all the colors. It's all looking very, very pretty. Now at the end, right? So we've solved the situation. We've disabled Omega 47. All the good guys turn up. All the Starfleet ships turn up from every single direction you can think of. And I thought, well, if you're on the other side of the quadrant, you'd be going, now's the time to attack Earth and Beta Z, because there's no one defending the place. But I thought, very, very cool. Every ship in the universe has turned up. And I think somebody went through and highlighting what all these ships were. Man, there's some wacky designs there. The only thing that looks even remotely familiar to what we've seen in the past is the Intrepid class, which is what Voyager was, but even that's been modernized. Good old Eisenberg, Aaron Eisenberg got his own class. But you look at some of these ships and you go, mate, they look nothing like Star Trek at all. So
the types of ships are really, really wacky. But they were cool. I liked them. A bit of variety. You go back and watch TNG, and every ship looks near identical to the Enterprise, except the cells are in a different position, or they've got an extra one, or they're missing one, or they're they're all the same saucer shape design. So to have a show that obviously we're going to get a bunch of different ones, because it makes sense. They're not all Federation sanctioned ships anymore, like the Starfleet, whereas they're all Federation ships. So it was cool.
I love the two things I'm going to point out. The Dressel House, this one up here. What the freaking hell is that shape? It was like, right, I can't work that one out. But the one that makes me laugh is the Saturn class. They said, we put a big hole in the middle of it, right? So if you're here and you need to get to there, you got to run around the whole side.
You got to remember, everyone's got personal transporters now.
Until they do actually
inevitably break down.
But it's like, why would you leave a big asshole in the middle of your It's like a freaking donut for crying out. I had to laugh at that. And just quickly, Starfleet of the 32nd century, as we were just discussing, and I thought, mate, where's the Discovery? It's got to be in here somewhere.
It was there. It was somewhere in there. Someone pointed it out on social media. The Discovery was in the shots at some point.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I don't know where, but you think they would have been front and center. So instead of this thing here, you reckon that would have been the Discovery? But anyway. So
I like Colin's comment. Oh no, go start with these. Yeah.
Michael said he's not a huge fan of the non-connected chip parts here. We discussed that a few episodes ago. What you say, the Stargate class?
Stargate class, great. Big circle. Yeah, I like that one. Nice one, Colin. Yeah.
Every time you go through the middle of it, you just end up at the pyramids.
Yeah. Very well done.
Dear. Oh my God, this is this is controversial. Well, not controversial. It's thought-provoking. So I find that people who say of its time, as in like classic Trek, seem to think that they have reached a Q-like pinnacle of social evolution, and not that they'll get vilified by future generations of vegans or similar because they used to eat hamburgers. That's very deep for this time of the night there, Mr. Russell. So I don't know.
Getting vilified. I like a hamburger.
Yeah, I do too, mate. What can I say? Especially on Good Friday, I got to have my meat on Good Friday. We're getting towards the end. We're getting towards the end, and as you see, we're starting to get a bit mad now. I did like this because we mentioned earlier, not tonight, but on other episodes, how the voiceovers on the Athena, the dude who does the voiceovers, there's the thing about the alien that's mating with itself. There's the gag here about attending Betazoid weddings and wearing sunscreen. I wonder how many people who listened to that, if they assume they did listen to it, said, what the freaking hell is he talking about?
The only reason I got that joke is because you mentioned it a few weeks ago,
Oh, really?
saying Bay to Z weddings, they are nude. I
They
wouldn't have
knew.
known that. I don't remember that from old Star Trek. But yeah, I found it funny. Yeah, I enjoyed it
Yeah,
quite a fair
it was
bit.
very, very cute. Yeah, it was just an offhanded
Yeah.
comment, but yeah, you have to watch Next Generation to get that gag. Now, this one I laughed, right? Absolutely laughed, right? So Thok and Reno finally caught up with each other, and you notice that Thok does not say a single word, right? Remembering
Yeah.
that the visual effects guys have to darken out her tongue and her mouth, right?
Yeah.
And every time she ever speaks in the entire series, they've got to digitally darken her mouth out. They obviously didn't do a Davros and just get her to swallow black ink or whatever. They've got to do it. So she keeps her mouth shut because clearly the FX guys said to the management, about how painting out her mouth on
Yeah.
a walking shot,
Don't
because,
you
Thok is a
dare.
bit of a talker.
Yeah.
You got to remember, Thok is a
Yeah.
bit of a talker. So you reckon she'd be going right off at this point. And they said, nah, keep her trap shut.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
I laughed when I saw that. I thought, no one's saying anything. At least someone should speak. But I thought, yeah. They obviously said, no, it's in the too hard basket. So, yeah. So I don't know if anybody. And as you said, it was such a neat and tidy ending. There's not even a hint of a threat. And I agreed with you completely. It's if they wrapped the entire thing up and they said, we signed off for the series is finished. Not the season, but the series is finished.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's kind of there's like nothing to say, well, why do I want to watch season 2? I couldn't give a shit now because there's nothing that's carried over.
You had the voiceover. I don't know. Do you have a slide on the end credits?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So, here, voiceover, everything. They're all happy. Everyone's together. If this was not greenlit for a second season, I completely understand why they did it, and it was perfect because it means you don't get a cliffhanger, whatever. They knew they were getting a season 2. They knew it was happening. They had written it. It was greenlit. They were getting ready to film. Why did they end it as a mini-series? If they were to go the next season with a whole new group of students, that would make sense. But they weren't. They've said that all the cast are back. Everything's continuing on as it was. So, yeah, why did it end? I like that it ended because if season 2 is really bad, which I hope it's not, but if season 2 is really bad, we can just pretend it ended after season 1, But it was a really nice wrap-up ending to a show that you look back on it and, minus one episode, really, was a very solid season of science fiction. And I would say one of the most enjoyable Star Treks I've ever watched.
Yeah, so we discussed this in the store, and I agree with your idea and then they're not going to do it. It doesn't really matter now anyway, but I liked your idea that you wrap this season up and you say, okay, our cadets went through some good times, some bad times, some hard times, but they finished and they're all still one big happy family. Move them off, bring in a whole new bunch of cadets, and you
bring in a new group of
different races, different species. Let the blue, you get the blue dude to be blued, and they've got their own interpersonal problems, and you go through that, and then Reno, Tilly, whoever, have to deal with them accordingly. That actually made a lot of sense, and I really dialed into that, but clearly that's not going to happen. So, Gene has said it wasn't perfect by any means, but he enjoyed it and just saying hello to us. So,
hi, Gene.
But it was a very good point. And normally with the season, you get to the end and you go, I was waiting at the end of the credits. Actually, I don't watch the end credits, but I got to the end and thought, is there going to be like
I thought there was going to be something.
Bracker's company, he's not going to come back, but a bad dude has stuck his head up and go, oh my God, I've got a reason to watch season 2. Yeah. Now I've got no reason at all. So,
oh my God, Mir's a ball.
Yes. Or the Q comes back and goes, hey, aren't they had a trial without me? What was the deal with that? Yeah. So, this was by far one of the better season-ending episodes. Star Trek was created overly cliche with the final scene, a work of genius. It was actually well done, and it did finish it off really, really nicely. But I agree with you. I think, there's a little bit missing here. With that in mind, funnily enough, a Starfleet Academy graduating class of 3196. Actually, they didn't graduate at all. They just finished their first year. So that's completely
again. This felt like what you put at the end of 3 or 4 seasons when the show's being cancelled and they've wrapped it all up, and you flick to the next slide if you've got it with like the photos of the people. Here, this was brilliant. I absolutely loved this. I was like, this is just phenomenal. It encompasses everything. It's such a cute idea. If it was season 4 and the show was over, if this was after the end of All Good Things, at end of series 7 of TNG. This is what you do in that, not at the end of a show that's had one season and we get more seasons to come. It was just so weird that they did it. I loved it, but it was so odd.
Yeah, look, I agree with you. They even put in the voice actors and everything in this particular thing too. And I thought, I'm not sure what the motivation was. I agree with you. Everything you said makes complete sense.
Yeah.
If it got to 7 seasons, which is what shows normally get to, by all means put it in. But not season 1, it's kind of a bit bizarre. Because when they get to the end of season 2, they can't do this again. And we're like, well, that's kind of a bit of a letdown.
But that's why I think it would have made more sense if in the next season you have a whole new group of people from year 1. And maybe have an episode where some of the year 2 students, these guys, make a cameo appearance. And then eventually build up to a whole thing where you've got all these different year levels and they all have to get together and do a big thing. But obviously they're not. They're continuing with year 2.
What's going to happen, though? You know what's going to happen?
Yeah.
People in Paramount are going to be watching us. That itself is a joke. And they're going,
yeah.
oh, the dude, Nick, he's got his finger on the pulse. Guys, we need to reshoot.
Delete season 2. Delete season 2 and start again.
It's all in digital. Just hit the delete button. Just, my God, we need to recast.
They're deleting it and then it's going, you cannot delete this because it's open in VLC Media Player. Damn it.
Like Amiga 47, we're just going to nuke everything for more, but just for sure. So, yes, that's what's going to be happening right now. So that's actually the end of the season. That's actually the end of us. I don't know when season 2 is meant to come out, but we'll cross those bridges. I'd be curious to see whether it's the next year of their study. I assume it will be. Overall, I think you've already covered off that you actually really enjoyed the series. I just want to reiterate that before we... Yeah, very cool. I find... With the thing with a show like this, where it's good, it's really good, and where it's poor, it's really poor. Most of the time, the positives outweigh the negatives, and the 2 episodes that I absolutely adored, I thought was just some of the best things I've seen in years in Star Trek. But where it was weak, I can't help but not notice the weak parts like I did tonight. And they go, well, hang on, this is just rehashing this.
This show's fallen into the trap that a lot of shows at the moment are falling into, where they're using the Netflix model of they make a show that is designed to be binged. If you sat down and watched all those 10 episodes back to back, you'd be like, that was friggin' awesome. This show was not designed for week by week. And I know a lot of streaming services are now moving to the week by week format because it means they can drag out subscriptions. I like it because it means we can do stuff like this where we talk about it each week, that water cooler concept of TV in the 90s. You don't have that anymore, but now they're bringing it back. But this show was one of those shows that falls into the trap of they've written it for a streaming service as one big interconnecting story that, if you think about it, the really bad episode of this season, you wouldn't even remember it if you'd binged it all in one go. But because you had a whole week to let it stew and go, God, what's going to be in the next one? And you had a whole week before stewing about how good the last episode was, it's falling into the trap that a lot of shows are at the moment, where it's a show designed to be binged, spread out over 10 weeks.
Yeah, very good point, actually. So who knows what they're going to do with season 2 if they end up just dumping the whole lot in one go for that very, very that purpose, unless it takes them a long time to just make these episodes to the point where they can actually release them. So anyway, that's what I thought of it. I did actually enjoy it. I actually, by and large, it was actually quite entertaining and quite good. But as I said, I saw too many things where they were just copying stuff that I've seen previously, and there's just a few too many holes. I can't help it. I just notice these things and go, hang on, that doesn't work. That doesn't add up. That's just cutting corners, and they're not following their own rules. But it's certainly not as disastrous as it could have been. And so all power to them for that. Just before we finish up, I haven't done this for the past few weeks, but we are actually sponsored, or at least got to make a point about the Aaron-shaped lad, even though he's not here, his store in Blackburn. For those who've never been there, if you're not in Victoria, obviously you need to fly in from overseas, preferably not from the Middle East, because flights from there are a bit hard at the moment. But it'll be worth the petrol. Petrol prices are really expensive at the moment. It'll be worth every single cent to go down to the store and check out the stuff. What do you reckon, Mr. Nick?
Yeah, come on down. Just take a look. We've got some really cool stuff in at the moment. We had one Lego collection come in, Lego Star Wars, all open stuff, decked out a whole shelf. It was amazing. Aaron said, God, that's really good. We had a big Lego restock. We haven't had one of them in a while, but God, we don't need another one. So of course, the next day, another massive another massive Lego collection came in of all some really cool boxed stuff. So if you're a Lego fan, the shop is definitely yours at the moment.
Very, very good. And on that note, we are going to finish up. So that's the end of us. 10 weeks. Oh, actually, we missed one episode, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So
and
it
the
is all
first
good.
one was 2, so 8 weeks.
Yeah, it's true. Oh, yeah, good.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that. So anyway, we're going to buzz off now. So you guys there will party hard, rock on. I hope you enjoyed our views of Starfleet Academy. And we will catch you all next time, whenever that will be, Mr. Nick. All right.
Sounds
Take care. All
good.
the
It's
best.
been fantastic. Bye, guys.